In a city swallowed by fire, a firefighter breaks through the smoke to save a life, only to come face to face with the woman he once loved. The same woman he was forced to abandon 5 years ago because of a secret too dangerous to speak. In that single moment, fate rewrites everything, and what begins as a rescue becomes a story of love, betrayal, and truth that refuses to stay buried. If you are new to the channel, then please subscribe to the channel and like the video and tell us in the comments where you are watching from. Now, let's jump into the story. The night was heavy with smoke. Alarms screamed in the distance as fire lit the sky above the tall glass building in the center of the city. Inside, heat twisted through the halls, walls cracked, and thick black clouds turned the air into poison. Firefighters rushed through the chaos, their boots striking hard against the trembling floor. Among them was Kevin O'Malley. His uniform weighed on his shoulders, but his focus was sharp. Every second mattered. Every step meant life or death. As he pulled open a door and searched through the smoke, his eyes caught sight of someone trapped against the wall. The figure coughed, struggling to breathe, her face hidden in shadows. Kevin hurried forward, reaching out. When their eyes met through the haze, his body froze. It was her. After 5 long years, fate had dragged her back into his world. Becky Davenport. The girl he had loved at 17. The girl he had lost because of power, lies, and choices no young heart should ever face. The air was thick. His chest pounded, but the moment carried him back in time. Becky Davenport was only 17 when their story began. She lived in a mansion that stood like a castle, locked with gates and guarded by silence. She was the daughter of Warren Davenport, a man known for wealth, authority, and ruthless control. To the world, she had everything. But to Becky, life inside those walls felt cold and lonely. Kevin O'Malley came from another world entirely. His family lived in a small house on the other side of the city, where bills piled up and dreams were often delayed. He was a scholarship student at an elite academy, a boy with determination and a secret fire inside him. His dream was to become a doctor, to save lives, to rise above the weight of his family's struggles. Their paths crossed in the quiet corners of the school library. It began with a project. Just a few words exchanged between 2 students who should never have met. He broke Becky's heart with words that weren't his own. He told her they were too young, too different, too far apart. He let her believe he had stopped loving her. The pain in her eyes haunted him as she turned and walked away. Becky left for Stanford. Kevin buried himself in work and later in the firehouse, trading one dream for another. Years passed, but the memory of her never faded. And now, in the choking smoke of a burning building, she was here again. The girl he had once promised forever. The girl he had betrayed to protect his family. Becky's eyes widened as recognition struck her. Even in the chaos, even in the danger, she knew. The man pulling her from the flames was the same boy who had once held her hand under the stars. Their worlds had changed. Their lives had broken apart. But in that instant, as fire surrounded them, one truth returned with undeniable force. Fate had brought them back together. Yet what fate gives, it can also take away. ... The question now was not whether love could return. It was whether love could survive the truth that still lay hidden between them. Becky Davenport had grown up surrounded by wealth, rules, and silence. A mansion where she lived was filled with expensive art and polished marble floors. But it lacked warmth. Her father, Warren Davenport, was a powerful CEO, a man feared in boardrooms and admired in society. Yet to his daughter, he was distant and cold. Becky's life was mapped out for her, from the university she would attend to the people she was expected to meet. Kevin O'Malley's world could not have been more different. His home was small, full of laughter, noise, and the constant worry of unpaid bills. His mother worked long hours, his father carried heavy loads at a warehouse, and his older brother battled illness. Kevin was their hope. With a scholarship to an elite academy, he carried the dreams of his family on his shoulders. When Becky and Kevin first spoke in the library of their academy, it seemed ordinary. Just two students working on a school project. But soon, ordinary turned into something powerful. Their conversation stretched late into the evening. He told her about his dream of becoming a doctor. She told him about her loneliness, about living in a house where love felt like a stranger. In each other, they found something rare. Kevin gave her honesty and kindness, things she never felt in her own home. Becky gave him encouragement and belief, something he often struggled to give himself. Their connection grew quickly. Days turned into nights filled with whispered secrets. They laughed at things no one else would understand. When he looked at her, he did not see the daughter of a millionaire. He saw a girl who wanted freedom. When she looked at him, she did not see a scholarship student. She saw someone brave enough to dream. By 17, they had fallen deeply in love. Their first kiss happened beneath the old oak tree near the academy gates, where the city lights faded and only the stars watched. For them, it felt like forever. But forever was fragile. Rumors spread. Whispers reached Warren Davenport. To him, Kevin was not a boy in love. He was a problem, a distraction, a threat to the future he had planned for his daughter. One evening, Kevin was called to the Davenport estate. He walked into a room filled with silence, where Warren sat behind a heavy desk. The man's voice was sharp, his words like iron. He told Kevin that the relationship would end. Not tomorrow, not next week, now. Kevin tried to speak, but Warren's tone cut him off. He laid out the truth in plain, cruel terms. If Kevin did not walk away, his family would suffer. His father would lose his job. His mother would be left without support. His brother's medical care would vanish. It was not a choice. It was a sentence. That night, Kevin made the hardest decision of his life. He walked to the place where he and Becky always met. She arrived smiling, full of light, expecting laughter and plans for the future. Instead, he shattered her heart. He told her they were too young, too different, too far apart. His voice was steady, but inside, he was breaking. Becky's eyes filled with tears. She begged him to explain, to fight for what they had, but he turned away, carrying the weight of her father's threat like chains around his neck. She left soon after for Stanford, believing Kevin had stopped loving her. He stayed behind, drowning in regret, knowing every word he spoke had been a lie to protect his family. Months passed, then years. Becky built a new life, polishing herself into the strong, sharp woman her father always wanted her to be. Kevin traded his dream of medicine for a different calling, choosing the firehouse over the hospital, finding purpose in saving lives another way. But no matter where they went, the memory of first love lingered. She carried the pain of betrayal. He carried the guilt of silence. Their story had begun with hope, but ended with loss. Yet fate has a way of bending paths back together. And though they did not know it yet, the fire that had separated them was only the beginning of a larger storm. 5 years had passed since Becky Davenport and Kevin O'Malley last saw each other. Time had changed them both, but the memories never faded. Their first love had ended in heartbreak, torn apart by power, secrets, and betrayal. Becky had grown into a woman her father could proudly display in his empire. She wore sharp suits, carried herself with confidence, and sat at the head of meetings where decisions shaped the future of companies. Yet beneath the polished image, she carried scars. Every victory reminded her of the price she had paid. The laughter of her 17-year-old self had been buried under responsibility, duty, and silence. Kevin's path had turned another way. The dream of medicine had slipped from his grasp, but he had found another calling. As a firefighter, he lived a life of courage, rushing into danger to protect others. Every rescue carried the same determination that once burned in him as a boy with a dream. He had learned to live with the past, but the memory of Becky's face, the tears in her eyes, never left him. Their reunion came in fire and smoke. One night, flames tore through a tower in the heart of the city. Glass shattered, alarms screamed, and the building shook as if the earth itself wanted to swallow it whole. Kevin led his team inside, searching through the thick smoke for survivors. And then, in the chaos, he saw her. Becky was trapped in her office, coughing, her face pale beneath the glow of fire. When their eyes met, time froze. For a moment, the burning walls disappeared. And all that remained was the memory of a boy and a girl who once believed love could last forever. He carried her out, holding her close as the world burned behind them. Once outside, she looked at him with disbelief. Even under the heavy helmet and suit, she knew it was him, the boy she had loved, the boy who had broken her heart. In that single glance, 5 years of silence shattered. Their paths crossed again in unexpected places. First at a cafe, where chance turned into awkward conversation. Then at a park, where a walk in the open air turned into arguments about the past. Later, in her office, where business and personal history collided like thunder. Becky tried to keep her walls high. She reminded herself of the pain, of the words he once said that cut her so deeply. But every time she looked at him, the anger mixed with something she could not deny. He was older now, stronger, marked by years of sacrifice, yet his eyes still carried the same fire, the same honesty, the same love she once trusted. Kevin, on the other hand, battled his own torment. He wanted to explain, to tell her the truth about her father's threat, about the night he was forced to let her go. But fear held him back. What if she did not forgive him? What if the truth only broke her again? Still, destiny pushed them together. As Becky faced corporate sabotage and media storms against her family's company, Kevin found himself near her more often. He did not plan it. Sometimes fate simply pulled him in. He became a steady presence, offering strength when she felt the weight of the world pressing on her shoulders. There were nights when silence said more than words. Sitting across from each other, the memories of youth blended with the reality of who they had become. Anger clashed with tenderness, distrust with longing. Yet every conversation carried an unspoken question. Was their love truly gone, or had it simply been waiting, hidden beneath the ashes of the past? Becky told herself she was stronger now, that she had no space for weakness. But when she looked at Kevin, the girl she once was resurfaced. The girl who laughed freely. The girl who believed in love. And for Kevin, every moment near her reignited the truth he had buried for years. He had never stopped loving her. Fate had been cruel in tearing them apart. Now, it was cruel again in bringing them face to face, forcing them to confront the very feelings they had tried to bury. Their reunion was not gentle. It was a storm. But within that storm was the possibility of something neither could ignore. The question remained, would the truth that still lay hidden heal them or destroy them all over again? The fire had brought them together again. But it did not erase the years of silence or the scars of betrayal. Becky Davenport and Kevin O'Malley were caught between the past and the present, between the love that once saved them and the pain that had torn them apart. Becky carried questions that never left her. Why had he broken her heart so easily? Why had he walked away without fighting for her? Every time she looked at him, she saw the boy who once held her hand under the stars, but also the boy who abandoned her without explanation. Kevin carried secrets that weighed on his soul. For years, he lived with the truth of her father's threats, with the knowledge that every word he spoke the night they ended was a lie, meant to protect his family. Now, as fate pulled them closer, he knew he could not hide forever. One evening, after weeks of careful distance and unspoken tension, Becky confronted him. They stood in her office, the city lights glowing through tall windows. Her voice was sharp, her eyes fierce. She demanded answers. Why? She asked. Why did you leave me like that?" Kevin could no longer escape. His chest tightened as he finally spoke the words he had buried for 5 long years. He told her everything. He told her about the night Warren Davenport had summoned him, about the threats, the cold warnings, the promise that his family would suffer if he did not walk away. He confessed that he had never stopped loving her, that the pain of hurting her was a wound that never healed. Becky listened, silent at first, her hands trembling. The truth cut through her like a blade. Anger and sorrow mixed within her. She thought of all the years she spent believing she was unwanted, unloved, abandoned. And now, she learned it had been sacrifice, not rejection. Tears filled her eyes, but she did not let them fall. She turned away, struggling to breathe. Her father's power had stolen her happiness, and Kevin's silence had allowed the wound to grow deeper. Kevin stepped closer, his voice steady but filled with regret. He told her he did not ask for forgiveness, only for her to know the truth. He wanted her to see that the love they shared had been real and that it had never truly ended. The room was heavy with silence. Then, slowly, Becky turned back to face him. Her voice was soft now, filled with exhaustion and pain. She told him that the truth freed her, but it also broke her. It forced her to face the years they had lost, years that could never be returned. She admitted she still felt something for him, something strong, something undeniable. But she also admitted she was afraid of trusting him again, afraid of being shattered once more. Kevin understood. He told her he would wait, no matter how long it took. He told her he would stand by her, not as a demand, but as a promise. He had lost her once, and he would not push her again. In the days that followed, Becky found herself seeing him differently. Not as the boy who betrayed her, but as the man who had sacrificed everything for her. She saw his courage, his strength, his devotion. She began to realize that love, even when broken, can endure. Yet the choice was hers. Truth had finally been spoken. ... Redemption was no longer about the past, but about what they would choose now. Would she open her heart again? Would she let love return after years of pain? The story did not end with certainty. It ended with possibility. Becky stood at the edge of a new beginning, her heart heavy but hopeful. Kevin waited, patient, willing to face whatever came. Their love had been torn apart by power. It had been buried by lies, but fate had returned it to them. And sometimes, redemption is not about erasing the past. It is about choosing to believe in the future. Their love had been broken, their lives torn apart, yet fate brought them back to face the truth. Sometimes redemption is not about erasing the past, but about daring to believe in the future. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments below.